Today is all about those little details that go into planning a young adult ministry schedule at your parish. All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Young Adult Ministry Insights. And today I'm going to go through all the little details that go into planning a young adult ministry schedule. So I want to start by saying there's about four main categories, some subcategories to them, but four main categories that I look to in planning a young adult ministry schedule at your parish level. The first would be guest speakers. The second would be events within your parish that you can tie into. The next would be service, and the last would be social. Now, again, there's other avenues, but I want to speak to those four main categories, okay? So first, guest speakers. I would say you have amazing potential right within your parish. There are so many parishioners that have stories to tell, that have journeys of their faith, conversions, or just where God is taking them in their life and what they can give back and share with others. Also, their knowledge of the faith. You'll find that some parishioners are very knowledgeable in the Bible, or very knowledgeable in service, and very knowledgeable in being a deacon, right? There's a lot of people right within your parish. Then you could just pull in and ask, hey, did you ever feel comfortable about sharing your story with young adults to inspire them, to give them more of the faith? And so I would look into first these adults that are in your parish to share with the young adults there and ask them if they'd be willing to come. Often there would be an individual that maybe has an area of expertise. For instance, at my parish, there is a well-known award-winning poet who is part of our parish, and a lot of her poetry is Catholic-based. And so we had her come in and share about writing her poetry, what inspires her, and then she prompted our young adults to write their own poem and share it. It was beautiful. It was a way of sharing talents, a way of sharing just our faith in a new light. Do you have those potential adults and parishioners in your parish that can do something like that? So I will look there. Next, you can look beyond the parish boundaries. Maybe there's somebody in your diocese who, again, has been known to do well at public speaking, has kind of made the rounds and spoken at different parishes, maybe has led some missions. Are these lay people around that can share their story that are maybe beyond your parish walls? And then beyond the lay people, I would look to our priests, our deacons, our clergy of the diocese and your surrounding area, who are known for different charisms they have, different ministries they led, different ways that they share the faith, expertise on certain saints or certain disciplines of our church that they can share with you. We had a priest that loves to give a confession. It's like part of his mission in life is just part of his charism as a priest is to be in the confessional. And so that priest came in, gave a great talk on confession, and naturally heard confessions afterwards if anybody wanted to. And so that was a way that we can bring in our local priests who have these great gifts to share. So again, looking into the potential right within your church walls, right within the diocese. And usually if you bring in a guest speaker, you would give them a stipend, maybe a small gift card, something for their time. But often what I found is if it's parishioners especially, they just want to inspire others and be around young people, and they usually decline that stipend and do it as a donation towards their church and towards the future of our church. And so that's really beautiful to see as well, and kind of saves you if you're on a budget. Next, I want to talk about events within your own church that you can tie into. These are great ways to volunteer, great ways to be part of the community, great ways to have the young adults even just be a part of a ministry or something that's taking place in the church where they can be a part of it and learn from other parishioners and priests that are right there as well. And so don't underestimate the things that are already going on in your parish. Possibly it's a dinner. Other times it could be something, say, during Holy Week, participating in the different Triduum Masses. And then other times it could just be events or social activities that already take place. For instance, we have a carnival every year. So the young adults at this carnival will volunteer to lead one of the booths in the carnival. And it's just strictly manned by the young adults of the parish. So ways that you can tie into things already happening at the parish by both volunteering or taking part in them. Maybe it's a supper and scripture evening. Maybe it's the Pearl Life ministry, but tying into the things that are already going on at the parish and incorporating them for the young adults to really get immersed into the parish life. Then service. service is so important. Service is these times that I really do feel that people's, and young people's especially, hearts are truly touched. And in turn, it really does touch their soul. And you might have heard me say this a lot in my youth ministry episodes that I've had, but really for young adults and all ages, it really does touch them in a deep way and allows them to be Christ's hands and feet and heart here on this earth. So any way you can do service. Homeless runs are amazing, getting together items and going out on the street, giving them to the homeless. If you feel more comfortable in an area, maybe volunteering at a local soup kitchen or an area that serves the poor and the needy, such amazing experiences. And I feel that young adults are really open to doing that, and they really, truly do love it. Also, there are areas that you can tie into. Or is there a local Ronald McDonald House near you? Ronald McDonald Houses are a great way to volunteer to cook dinner for the guests staying there, who them or their loved ones are receiving medical treatment, surgeries, or different kinds of needs that are being met at the local hospitals, and they need a place to stay locally. And so they are the guests there, and you help serve a meal to them. It's not McDonald's food, it's your own home-cooked meal. And then you can go ahead and serve that meal to those both parents, children of all ages, of kids who are there, staying there. And usually can put on a little craft or some kind of entertainment for them, which they truly love. Another great area of service always is to tie into the things going on at your, again, local parish. Is there a food drive? Is there other needs that need to be met? Even just cleaning up after an event, helping set up for events. Those areas of service are so needed as well. And then again, tying into service, is there a youth group in your parish? Is it run by the same youth and young adult minister? Can you tie in to being leaders and role models for the young people of your church? Is there a school at your church? Can you volunteer there? Is there religious ed at your church? Can you be religious ed catechist? Where can your young adults tie in and really see their desires and what potential they have, what gifts God has given them, and try to plug them into the right areas to serve in such a great way? Lastly, the last component is social, and I think it's so important. Young adults really crave and desire community, and they love it and they thrive off of it. It's interesting because statistics are showing that in a time when majority of it is elderly that have been on the lonely side of individuals who are lonely, at this point in time, it is the young church, the young people who are feeling lonely. Yet in a time when we are so well connected. And so that personal contact of doing things that are fun together as a community means so much, whether that's dinners, outings, or going axe throwing or bowling, or to one of these fun places like an arcade place like Dave and Buster's. But just having these community social events are so important. Those bonds are formed, those friendships are formed during those trips, during those car rides, during that time that you are together at these different social events. So I think they're so important. I always like to plan at least one a month. I think it just brings the community so much together, and sometimes bring out some people that may not typically come to maybe a young adult meeting, but they maybe would have that invitation to that social event, which kind of gets them through the door to meet people. And then lastly, if you can have any kind of regular social events, for instance, at our parish, we have a gym, and every Monday after our meetings, we would go to the gym and play basketball, just little pickup games, little fun games. But it was just a nice way to end the night on a social kind of environment. Those that weren't playing, that weren't maybe athletically inclined, would sit off to the side and have fun conversations, dance, play music. And so these areas to have this social component really does bring about so much community, bonds, friendship, that can really form in such a deep way during those times. So these are the areas of young adult ministry that I would really like to focus on in planning your schedule. And the thing I'll end with is this: always listen to what the young adults are desiring, what maybe they've asked to have, and is it something that is worth putting into the schedule? If it be a guest speaker or an idea for service, always listen. I'll leave you with this story. We had a young adult very early on in my years of ministry at the parish level who asked to begin our meeting with praying the rosary. And he wanted to have every meeting with that. And I was like, I'm not sure how the group would feel about this. That's like a half hour at the beginning of every meeting. I know some of them love the rosary. Others are, it's not their first choice of prayer. But let's just see how it goes, and then we can take it from there. So we tried it out for like 2 or 3 weeks, and it was really catching on and giving such a great peace, great sense of prayer and community for this group of young adults that were 18 to 25 years old at the time. And so it just became a regular start to our meeting, praying the rosary together for the first half hour. And our young adults knew that if they weren't as into the rosary or as into Marian devotions in that way, or maybe they were just running late coming from school or work, they had that little bit of time that they can get there still a little late before the meeting content started. Or if they really wanted to make that time of prayer, they would make sure that they were there right when the rosary started. And became a way for leadership in prayer, leading the decade, sometimes leading the rosary in my absence with the opening and closing prayers. And it was just so beautiful to see Mary be such an important part to the start every week of our meetings. And so I really encourage you to look into and to listen, especially in those areas of prayer where the young adults are really asking and desiring their hearts to be, and to always be in tune to that. So thank you for serving the young church in such a beautiful way, and God bless.